Hey guys, welcome back to Be Rich. Before we get into the video, I wanted to bring to your notice that my uncles Vinod Srinivasan, Anand Srinivasan and I have rolled out our Substack, which is basically a blog slash newsletter where we're going to post our original research onto it. And we've analyzed macroeconomic trends. And a lot of you know my uncle Anand Srinivasan and I regularly write for The Hindu. And these articles are also going to be made available for you in the Substack. The link is moatinvesting.substack.com. You'll find it in the description and in the video right now. We hope you go check it out. We've put a lot of time and effort into it. And please give us comments and feedback on what you read. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to Be Rich. We read your comments on yesterday's video. We thank you for the positive feedback. We will try to bring in more Q&A sessions.
Once a week at least.
Yeah, once a week in this channel. But apart from that, let's get into today's video, which is Indigo. And when I say Indigo, of course, I mean the airline company. And this is a company which we haven't talked about much at all. We have talked about the aviation industry and how Warren Buffett has his reservations on the aviation industry. Especially, he said that this is one industries which he will not touch ever. And he ended up getting into aviation during COVID, and then he burnt his fingers. He got out of it. So today let's talk about aviation. And we all know that famous Richard Branson quote that to become a millionaire, start with $1 billion, then launch an airline.
So, make $1 billion and launch an airline.
Yeah. So that's basically the reputation which aviation has attached to it in the investing community. But there are some exceptions, and there are some players who, at least for a short while, tend to be quite successful in the aviation industry. And one of those players happens to be Indigo. So Indigo was founded in 2006. And apart from the 3 years during COVID, when they lost a lot of money, they have been profitable otherwise. And that's actually quite an exception to the rule, because generally airlines are seen as something which is capital hungry and failure prone, especially because there's a lot of competition. So you have a lot of competition mixed in with a lot of capital investment which is required, and you have a recipe for a poor investment because you have to make a lot of commitments for razor thin profits, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to get into that. Yes, there will be one or two players who, if they're able to dominate the market, will take up all the profits that are to be had, but thus far we've always seen titans end up falling by the wayside in the quest to become that one big player. So in India alone, we have multiple stories of airlines going belly up. So we have Jet Airways, which went belly up, and then we had Kingfisher, which went belly up, and I think Go Air is also in the process of liquidation.
Air Sahar.
Yeah, Air Sahar. So I don't need to go on listing names. We already know of the cases. But what is different about Indigo? How has Indigo survived? How have they been able to show profits? And maybe is this something which investors should be considering given their track record? Well, let's break that down one by one. The first thing about Indigo is that they aim to be cheap aircraft carrier, who are very specific about their costs.
True.
If you've noticed with Indigo, regardless of which class in Indigo you sit in, you always get cold food. And the reason is because Indigo has consciously avoided trying to bring in ovens and anything that could complicate their cost structures. And this is even to the minute detail of food. They aren't willing to compromise even on that angle. And there's this famous story of Mr. Bhatia, who's Rahul Bhatia, a travel agent, and Rakesh Gangwal, who was a former airline chief, who both of them founded Indigo together. And they were basically in a negotiation with Airbus. And at the end of the negotiation, Bhatia was going to take his wallet out to pay. And I think Gangwal said, please keep the wallet in, they're going to pay, not us. So you can sort of get an idea of what kind of people are in the business. And this is not to sort of demean them. It's just part
as an investor, it's good. I mean, yeah, you have owners who are very cost conscious and
frugal.
Yeah, frugal. It's good.
Yeah, it's
that means your capital is being spent well.
Yeah, it's being spent well. And Indigo, and yeah, please try to look at this from the viewpoint of an investor rather than someone who's flying on Indigo.
Yeah, we're not talking about as an airline. We're not here to comment about the airline.
Yeah. So then let's look at some of the things which Indigo has done. First off, they only have a set group of planes which they use, so they don't stray away from their model. They have their bread and butter, and they stick with it. and they try not to stray away from their magic formula, which has worked. Of course, they're not trying to be Singapore Airlines, nor are they trying to be Ryanair. They're trying to be somewhere in the middle, but they're trying to be more towards the cost conscious side of things rather than the one which is luxury.
And even expansion, they're not very aggressive in expanding routes and all that. Overnight, trying to fly all over the world. They've been, for the longest time, they were very conscious on the routes they stayed in, even in India.
Yeah. Well, today they're trying to expand.
Yeah, today. Now they're trying to grow, yes.
Yeah, now they're trying to grow, and they control 60% of the domestic market. And that's a crazy number because in the US, the top 5 airlines control about 60% of the market.
Yes.
So that's one thing which Indigo has going for it. The fact that it is able to corner the 60% of the market basically means that they have pricing power to some extent. And this gives them more access to free cash flow. But important point with the airline industry, free cash flow and the airline industry are sort of oxymoronic because they don't go together well.
No.
Because of the amount of heavy capital investment you need to be able to sustain your industry, because of the huge levels of depreciation which is there in your business, which you have to, of course,
you have to absorb. And the funny thing is, they don't even own the airlines.
Yeah, they don't even own the airlines.
It's all rented.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why the airline industry doesn't fit into our model of investing very well. So,
it's a good idea comparison for an investor would be that you see Airbnb doing very well. So you decide instead of buying flats, you'll rent 5 flats, convert them into Airbnb and try to do Airbnb and rent out beds. On paper, it all looks very nice. Till you get into the nitty-gritties of it, then only realize how difficult it is, the margins.
Yeah. Okay, now that we've discussed this, let's look at Indigo's balance sheet. Well, Indigo's balance sheet is actually quite shocking to look at because, yes, the profit making and all that, but if you look at their assets and liabilities, then you start getting a picture of what is going on with Indigo. So, the consolidated balance sheet as of 2023 and 2024. So, in March of 2023, their borrowings was 44,860 crores, and their reserves happened to be minus 6,638 crores. And as of 2024, their borrowings are 51,280 crores, and their reserves are 1,610 crores. So immediately, this is raising alarm bells to me because they're using a heavy amount of borrowings to fund their expansion, is what it looks like. And they borrowed a lot to tide them over the COVID period.
And you have to remember, all the rents they have to pay for the aircraft is in dollars. Right. They're not paying it in rupees.
And another thing that concerns me about Indigo is the fact that, yes, Air India is now merging with Vistara, and you have Air Asia as well. So why that concerns me is because Tatas have very deep pockets. If they wanted to, fund a price war with Indigo, which is a company without the kind of pockets, which don't have the access to kind of pockets which the Tatas do, then it's going to look very nasty for Indigo. The Tatas can run a loss for much longer than Indigo can. And the Tatas have had longer experience with air travel than Indigo. So Indigo has been here for maybe now close to 18 years. But the Tatas were the ones who first brought in Air India into India. So I don't feel comfortable having them as my competitor when I'm owning Indigo stock. So I'm quite concerned about that. And for that reason, I don't know whether it's, even though Indigo is doing quite well for itself, I don't know whether I still find it to be something which is worth investing into, especially the price at which it's trading at currently. Its PE ratio is 24, and its dividend yield, they're not paying anything, and the price to earnings is 24. I'd much rather look for something which is a little more fairly priced, and it's something which doesn't have the kind of competition which Indigo is having currently. What do you think about this?
I agree on this. For a simple reason, I'll tell you why. More than Tatas, most of us investors, airline industry is not in our circle of competence. Just because we fly a lot, or we use airlines, or we feel which airlines is good or not good, we think we have a kind of a grip on what's happening in the industry. We don't. Airline industry is very complicated. And whatever you think is the airline industry as a new investor, it is really not that. Airline industries are, like I said, it's about borrowing these fleets of aircrafts, and you are subleasing it to passengers individually, like renting beds out, like I said, and you're trying to cover costs. And all the time you have to borrow in dollars, earn in rupees and pay it back in dollars, you know the differential, how painful it is. Then, of course, we have to talk about oil and the cost of fuel, how difficult that is. All this with rising interest rates for all your borrowing cost, you have to talk about. So it's not some kind of a brand thing which you see like a luxury good, flashy, where a Louis Vuitton bag is made for $50 and sold for $5,000. That's not what's happening here. It's more like the bag is being made for $4,999 and it's being sold for $5,000. So the wafer thin margins they are, and a small accident, a small disturbance in an aircraft can have a ripple on effect on what it will have to pay out. And we've seen this happen to airlines, like what's happening to Boeing. They had to come out and admit things and they're getting hammered for it. And they're a manufacturer. Okay, so, and they have the American government behind them and they're getting hammered. So this is a very small private company if you look at it in the scheme of things in that range. And it's really not in our circle of competence. So my advice would be very careful if you are thinking of any airline, not only Indigo, any airline. And even the great Tatas are finding it very hard to merge these airlines and to get everything sorted out. They have deep pockets, mind you. They can throw money. And the problem they've realized is it's not a money problem. It's just logistics of doing things and putting together, bringing cultures, various cultures of working which have been ingrained into people for so many years in different airlines. Trying to collate all of them and bring them under one banner is not as easy as you think.
And to add to the mix, you have, if you're looking for expansion outside India, you have companies like Emirates and Gulf Air.
And there's immense pressure on Indian government from people like Emirates and Etihad to allow far more access to the Indian market. So you can imagine, for reasons, the Indian government has no reason to hold them back. Before they had Air India saying our domestic carrier, like BSNL, like Doordarshan, they had it to protect our interest. Now everything is privately owned in India and government really doesn't care. Yeah. Even airports are now being privately given out. So even Tatas are finding it hard. And keep in mind, it's not a money issue like what we were saying. It's more of a cultural issue and logistic issues which have come into play here. And what were you saying before light switched off?
Yeah, right. But this doesn't really mean that, Indigo is not going to go and perform very well in the next few years. This isn't a doomsday call for people who are invested in Indigo. It's just our opinion on whether today Indigo looks attractive or not. It's something which we personally would shy away from for the reasons we mentioned before. And this isn't a prediction of what may or may not happen.
Because, like Shashwath was saying, you have X amount of capital and you want to invest it. We're not talking about, owning Indigo. We're talking about investing and making sure your capital grows to achieve the goal you want.
Yeah.
That you have a 5-year goal, 10-year goal, that you grow your investment to this level. We feel that in that journey, there are better opportunities in your understanding, in your circle of competence and whatever you want, in value buying, than Indigo at this point of time.
Yeah, and not to mention the promoter holding has been coming down over the past few years, which is not an immediate red flag because it's still 55%. Maybe they're just selling to raise funds, but it's not.
There's been issues in the family also.
Yeah, so
that made the news.
It doesn't seem very attractive, at least right now to me, and so that's possibly where we're going to leave it. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you aren't subscribed already, hit the subscribe button. And to get notified of when we drop our latest video, please hit the bell icon and you'll get a notification. And finally, if you have any opinions, comments, or questions you'd like to express, please leave them in the comment section below. And like yesterday, we do plan to make more videos with Q&As. So keep on the lookout for that. Thank you again for watching Be Rich.
Thank you.
It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.